Welcome to the Sports Hangover. I'm Michael Benatar, joined alongside J Dawg.
Mike, I've been deep in draft preparations this week, so I came to the best place I know. If you're watching us right now, I'm in the Steelers' den. I'm in the Steelers' draft room right now.
When Jeremy just first got on, I thought he was in our mutual friend's living room because every Steeler fan has that thing behind them. So if Big Lou's watching, shout out to Big Lou. He definitely has one of those in his house. Right?
Yeah, I just rent random rooms out around the country, and this week I'm in the Steelers draft room. And yes, every Steeler fan on earth, you have to have this to root for the Steelers. You have to be 100%. You also have to be loud, and you have to be a little bit obnoxious to watch games with. But that's a different story.
And carry one of those terrible towels around with you.
Yes, everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Mike, big mock draft season. So we're 1 week from the draft. Today is Thursday, 4/22. The draft is Thursday, 4/29 in Cleveland. Next week, I have a new mock draft. It's on the sportshangover.com. So if you want to stop listening now and go click over and read it and then come back and listen, that's fair. I think that's a fair thing to do because it'll give you more context for the podcast. And you already downloaded the show, so we don't really care if you leave now, even though we want you to stay.
Yeah. So do we want to get into that right away? Or I have like some headlines we can get into, then tease the mock draft later. You want to do mock draft in a little bit?
Good tease. Give me some headlines, but don't make it basketball.
Okay. Well, headlines here. Well, this is a random one. And then I'm also going to dive into that Jake Paul fight because I was very, very angry about it after I spent 3 hours of my life watching it.
It wasn't a fight. It was a concert.
It was barely a concert, but all right, we'll get into it in a second. So what is up with the PGA Tour rewarding players? Is this a new thing? Because I got an article. I'm like, what is this? Why are they paying the players? There's like a $40 million pool of money, and they're paying the top 10 players by their like presence. I wasn't even really sure the metrics. It's like Google search popularity.
6 metrics they're looking at: Google search, Google Trends, Twitter profile, how much your Q score is, like how popular you are.
Do you know
all this stuff?
Do you know what a Q score is? Because I don't know what a Q score is.
A Q score is how popular you are. Like, for example, my Q score would be higher than your Q score.
Okay. And then what?
We're celebrities.
What is the MVP index rate? I'm clicking on all these links right now.
I think that might be like how much money you win or how many events you play or win. So there is some on-field performance for these golfers, but it is more, Mike. It is more about your profile off the field or off the golf course in this case, and rewarding you for being famous and driving people to your sport to watch you. And I think it's brilliant because golf is such an individual sport. You know, the top 10 players, the Brysons, the Dustin Johnsons, Brooks Koepka, Tiger, and Phil, when they're healthy, they're the ones who drive all the ratings to a tournament. No one's watching for players 11 through 200, yet every event has 150 or 200 players. So it makes sense to reward these guys more. And so they can actually struggle with golf. Like Ricky Fowler, you know the name, even though he's a terrible golfer, but you know the name because he's got all these metrics going on. He didn't even qualify for the Masters last week. He's not in the top 150 golfers in the world anymore. He's so bad. He's not good at golf. I mean, golf is hard. You know that. It's hard. So that's just one example, but he'll probably qualify in these metrics and take home millions of dollars just by being famous and driving people to the sport.
So they put up for last year, if this metric was around, it would have gone Tiger Woods number 1, number 2 Rory, number 3 Brooks Koepka, number 4 Phil, 5 Ricky Fowler, 6 Jordan Spieth, 7 Dustin Johnson, 8 Justin Thomas, 9 Justin Rose, and 10 Adam Scott. So that would have been the
Where's
order.
Bryson DeChambeau? That's ridiculous.
He wasn't there in 2009. This is 2019. Sorry.
2019. Okay. That was 2 years ago.
2 years
2020 is when my boy Bryson came on. He's one of my guys. So you're rewarding players of all different skill levels. Justin Rose won't be in the top 10 anymore. He's fallen off. He had a chance at the Masters. He didn't do well. But Ricky Fowler is on it, and Tiger and Phil will remain on it too for the rest of their life.
But it's just an interesting thing because I didn't know any other sport that would do this, that would pay the top people, that you're just trending. We're going to go look at all the metrics because I would say the NBA could do something like this where pay your top 10 players even more money because they are the faces. Pay the LeBrons, the Stephs, all these players. Maybe they won't take it because they're making so much other money. Maybe it goes to charity or something like that. Because how much do golfers normally make? How much does a Jordan Spieth make a year?
So if he plays 27 events, you make like 1.5 million if you win. You make 500,000 for third place, 200,000 for 10th place. Say he averages 200,000 times 27 events. I need to do the math on that.
It's a good amount.
I'm not good when I'm talking
like $3 million
and doing math here. Yeah, something like that. Let's see what it is just while you're here.
Okay. So this was just, I was just thinking about it because I saw this article.
Yeah, $5.5 million on course earnings, and then off course you're making money from Under Armour and all these things. So maybe 7 to 10 mil.
Because the payouts for this PGA reward program, number 1 would earn $8 million, and with the rest, number 2s through 10, it'd be like a scale of how much you would get. But it's kind of crazy. I just think like for the NBA or for the NHL, if you were an NHL player and this was a thing where the NHLPA would pay you extra money to be popular, I would hope there would be more popularity in hockey alone because they would push it, or in basketball, because right now there isn't. Like, this almost makes it more exciting. Like, how popular, if I'm bad, I can at least be popular.
You can at least be on Twitter.
Yeah. Which could mean something. I mean, that's more eyes on the sport, right? So hockey needs a lot of help.
Yeah. Maybe I think the issue, Mike, is you need leverage anytime you enter a negotiation or you ask for more money. You can't go to your boss and say, I want more money, if you don't have any leverage on the other side of it. So these golfers, there was discussion in the last couple of years about them leaving the PGA Tour to join their own tour. Like the top 10 or 20 golfers, the most famous ones that are the ones that are going to be on those lists, they were talking about leaving the PGA Tour because they don't make enough money, doing their own 10-guy tour and then making all the money on this other tour. The PGA Tour said, no, we want you to stay here. We'll make you happy. And this was a solution they came up with. So they had leverage. I think in other sports, they don't have it. The one thing that we did see this week was soccer. Yes. We are not soccer guys, but there are soccer guys listening to the podcast and out there in the world somewhere. We just don't know who they are. We almost lost a lot of teams from the Premier League and the Champions League and whatever other leagues are out there to the super new soccer league in Europe. It fell apart right away. It fell apart instantly. The fans hated it, but that was an example of, well, those teams may have had some leverage until they didn't.
That was going to be the Scandal City, like the Super League, but I was all about the Super League. I said, this makes sense for soccer. Why not? If you guys are the top leagues, why not combine it? I don't understand the leagues itself in Europe. Like, I don't follow soccer at all. I don't know why there's like 5 different types of leagues that people can play in. I don't get it. I know in America we have the MLS league, which is really terrible. But actually, I've been to a game. It's a lot of fun to go to a game.
Is it?
Yeah.
Seattle Sounders looks fun.
Maybe if LAFC is open when we're here, we can go there. It is rowdy. Soccer fans are really, really rowdy. A lot of passion in soccer because I think they have
to. It has to be entertaining in the stands because whatever's going on the pitch is not very entertaining.
Well, you know what was weird? I almost enjoyed soccer more being there than watching it on TV. Because watching on TV, you're so far away. Maybe when you come, we'll go out to a soccer game.
I'll try.
But I like the idea for the Super League. I don't know if it makes sense here in Europe, but I mean in America, not in Europe. But I think something's there because that could be where they can make more money, maybe get more national broadcast. I don't know if because there's like weird deals with NBC or ABC or whoever owns the Premier League. Do they have to pay more because now they're not in this? A lot of issues there. They didn't roll it out very smoothly. It shouldn't have been an announcement. It should have been like everything should have been in contract before they rolled this shit out because
there was only there was a couple teams in contract but not all the 12 teams. Then all the fans were like rioting in the streets. I saw one of the Chelsea games this week like started late because all the fans were rioting outside the stadium.
Passion.
So and then they're like, no, we're out. And then the Man City GM or whatever the corresponding position is over there, he like dips out because he was like orchestrating the whole thing. And he's like, I resign. I can't deal with this. So there's a lot of soccer scandal if you're into that. I also want to watch Ted Lasso. I haven't seen it yet. I understand that he's a soccer coach. So I want to see that.
They don't talk about soccer much. It's more about,
and that's like okay.
It's like The Office. They never talked about the paper that they were like dishing out. It was like what happened in The Office. That's kind of like Ted Lasso. So it's not bad.
I need to watch it. Good.
Do you want to I got a bullshit or believe, or do you want to go a little draft stuff?
Let's do bullshit or believe, then straight into the draft.
Bullshit or believe time. Bullshit or believe time. Bullshit or believe. All right, Jeremy. Over the weekend, as you saw in our group thread, I was complaining about this fight that one of our friends unfortunately purchased, which was one of his biggest mistakes of his life. It was the Jake Paul.
How much money was it?
It wasn't that much, but it was $60. If you did not watch this, you do not understand the poor quality of what happened and how this was 100% staged. And there's so much to get into. Every aspect of this was insane. I don't know why. There was Pete Davidson there, Snoop Dogg, other celebrities.
Pete Davidson, by the way, he did like a live reporting type of
Yes.
thing outside of the locker room for one of them, and he was ripping on Jake Paul for like, if you're a YouTube star, you can do whatever you want to do, and no one will care, and no one gives a shit, but you can still do it anyway. Like he was doing that on the broadcast.
Yeah, it was all over the place when there was like the 5 guys up there talking about what was going on. Mario Lopez was there with somebody else, and they were all just yelling and cursing like, fuck this, like blah, blah, blah. It seemed like a bunch of drunk friends got together and said, let's press record and get this out to 1 million people, and we're going to make a shit ton of money. They had, so Triller, which we never heard of before, they sold 1.5 million pay-per-views, which was one of our shout outs to J Dawg, our summer. By the way, we have to have him on soon because he's gonna talk about summer trends.
It's almost summer, roaring 20s. He should have trends for the next 10 years, really.
He has missed out in the last 2 years because mead never took off.
Never happened. We're still waiting. I mean, the pandemic would have been a great time to drink mead at home, and he's
really gonna have to defend himself on this next podcast.
Yeah,
so 1.5 million people tuned in and purchased this. They generated $75 million. Now, here's where the scandal comes in. I know you're not very interested in this, but Jake Paul, investor in Triller, and so he's getting a shitload of money from this. Ben Askren, the guy who he fought that got knocked out, that didn't really get knocked out because it was all fake, got $5 million, which was his biggest payday of his entire fighting career.
Okay. So I didn't know he was a fighter. I thought he was like an actor or something. I didn't even know who he was.
He was I think he was a former or current
former fighter, because it didn't look like he's a current fighter.
He honestly, he kind of looked like me with my shirt off, like a little chunky, like a little like, what are you doing here? Are you a fighter? Are you working out? What happened? You came to a fight. You had months to train and nothing happened.
Yeah,
it was so bad. The music was terrible. I just want to say, never pay for these. Just somehow illegally stream them and watch them.
You say illegally stream it. Now I'm going to out you here. I hope this is okay. You sent a YouTube link out to the group, and I was like, oh, YouTube link. Great. Yeah. That YouTube link was trash for a couple of reasons, Mike. One, this British dude got on every 30 seconds and said, subscribe now. If you don't subscribe, I'm going to stop recording this. They're going to shut me down. And he was the biggest salesman ever. And he repeated himself thousands and thousands of times. And then right before the fight starts, of course, he does shut it down. And then there's no way to even watch it on his stupid feed. So I dipped the hell out of it.
No. So I sent another link. I said, this one's better. There was another link I sent afterwards.
I didn't get the second one. I just had the British dude telling me to subscribe to his channel. I didn't know who he was.
The second link was better. The music was terrible. Do not watch it. I was very upset. I literally wasted 3 hours of my life on Sunday night or whatever night it was.
Saturday night. That's a big night. This was a TSH Investigates, right? This was your investigation this week, and you're calling it a fraud. You're saying that it was not a real fight. So Jake Paul knocked out Ben Askren. I don't think you said that yet, but that did happen. He hit him hard. He fell. He didn't get up.
Okay, but then there was video. I don't know if you saw this. I wish I could actually. No, I'm not going to do it now, but we could screen share and I could show you video on this. But he was in a UFC fight they were showing. He was getting elbows left and right to his head and still standing and still like aware of what was going on. Jake Paul's not a real fighter who hit him. Ben Askren, as he was walking out, smiling, happy that he got knocked out. He was happy because he got $5 million. I don't care that it's a fraud, but let us know that this is like WWE style and not UFC style, because it was all staged. The music was so bad. When our summer trend J Dawg comes on, he's got to tell us how bad this was, because he was seeing it in like high res. I was seeing it on a streaming feed, so I don't know if it was any better on his end. But yeah,
why do you say the music wasn't good? Wasn't it Bieber? Wasn't it all these guys like Snoop?
It was all dubbed over. They were not actually singing. It was terrible, and
like
it looked
Mariah Carey New Year's Eve style.
Yeah, but it also kind of looked like there was a stage and there was like, smoke behind them, but it almost felt like if we ever went to a bar that had concerts or something like that, it felt like a bar performance. Like, oh, cool. Like they have a band up there right now. You're like, oh, it's like production value is okay, but it wasn't the best. It was so weird. I was just very frustrated the whole time. Yeah.
Something that won't frustrate you will be the NFL draft. Can we start with J Dawg Takes On?
Yeah, there it is.
J Dawg Takes On.
I had a request for J Dawg Takes On this week. We haven't had it. I've been positive entering the end of the pandemic, but I got my second vaccine, so I'm back, baby. J Dawg Takes On. All right, we're starting this with a recap. I feel great. I had a headache, stiff neck. I felt like I was Ben Askren for a day, and then I moved on. J Dawg Takes On is where we start the mock draft portion of today's proceedings. So I went back to the 2020 NFL mock draft, and I said, let's start here. Where did J Dawg get it right where NFL teams got it wrong? And I think you might enjoy this. I have 3 picks to share with you that I mocked last year. And I think the teams wish they did this instead. And then I'll reveal some of my mock draft for this year, which is coming up. Okay. The Philadelphia Eagles. Last year in my mock draft, I had Justin Jefferson going to the Eagles. He had an amazing season for the Vikings. Do you remember? They took Jalen Reagor instead, a receiver, same position. It was the wrong pick. True or false, J Dawg knows more than the Eagles GM.
I don't think the Eagles know much because they had Carson Wentz for the last 3 years and they thought he was going to be good and just traded him away. So I would agree. J Dawg does know more.
That was my first one. This is a quote from Justin Jefferson. Quote, I thought I was going to Philly, but I answered the phone and it was Minnesota. Philly, where you at? What you doing? You should have had Justin Jefferson. Here's my next one. You'll love this one. You're going to love it. Miami Dolphins. Ooh. They took Tua in the first round. Do you know who J Dawg mocked to the Dolphins at quarterback?
Who was it?
Justin Herbert. I had Herbert in my official mock. They should have listened to me. We all believe it now. We didn't think so at the time, but now we all want Herbert over Tua.
That's so true.
Another one right.
But what was the situation though? Because Tua went number 1 overall, or was it
5? Burrow went 1.
It's kind of crazy thinking back because like Justin Herbert, what was he drafted at?
He was drafted at 6 to the Chargers. I thought Tua should have gone to Washington at number 2 because they still need a quarterback. Like they just signed Fitzpatrick. So I don't think that was wrong, but I had the Dolphins taking Herbert.
I like that. You should try to get in these draft rooms, Jeremy. You should let them know. Maybe we'll email some NFL head coaches, let them know what you're picking here.
We'll slide into their DMs. That'll work.
Good scout. J Dawg's
the last one. The last one is the Chiefs, and this is debatable, but I thought it was fun. I had the Chiefs taking DeAndre Swift in the first round. They went with Clyde Edwards-Helaire instead. I don't know. Who would you rather have right now? It's a toss-up, but I'm curious. What do you think?
Wait, who did you?
DeAndre Swift. I had them taking Swift, who's on the Lions. It's hard to tell like how good you are when you're on the Lions, right? Because like he could be really good, but you're on the Lions.
Well, he did have that weird like fumble on Thanksgiving that I remember that really screwed me over a lot.
That's a Lions tradition. Fumble.
Yeah, I know.
Ruin the money line.
Every year I think I bet on the Lions on Thanksgiving. I don't know. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, was he that like didn't run the ball that much. He had they had Le'Veon Bell there. They had all these other guys.
He got hurt. Too. It's up for debate. I don't know.
It's up. Throw it out. Who knows? Maybe you know what? We'll see this year. So just write it down, like who performs better this year, because this is their sophomore.
Exactly. Year. So that is all to set up. I have done a 2021 NFL mock draft. It's the Gossip BS Lies and Rumors edition because there's never a time in the NFL season where it's more appropriate to have gossip, BS, lies, and rumors, except the mock draft. So obviously, I'm a good drafter. I'm a good scout. I got some right last year. Let's look at this year. A few headlines for you, Mike. I want you to comment on each of these. Okay. My first one. Yeah. I have 5 quarterbacks going in the top 7 picks. Okay. What do you think? Do you like the quarterback rush to start the draft?
I find it interesting because how can there be so many good quarterbacks coming out this year when other years there wasn't? And I would say, do you find it that they are more desperate for quarterbacks this year because they need a quarterback, when in the other years it was like, we don't need one, but we'll take somebody, 15th overall, 30th overall. Like Lamar Jackson was 28th, 29th overall, and he's a starting quarterback. Is there more need this year because all these quarterbacks, or is it just a year full of good ones? Because it seems weird. It almost seems like the media pushes like, oh yeah, everybody needs this. Because we're all mocking this right now, right? Like we're doing these mock drafts. Does that make any sense?
It could be wrong. Like most mocks will be wrong, not mine. But yeah, I think you're on the 2 points there. One is yes, there's at least 5 teams, if not more, who are desperate for quarterbacks, and we'll run through some of those in a second. And then the second thing is, I think there's going to be bad quarterbacks that are picked in the top 7 too, and that's part of the thing. Like 50% of these quarterbacks, maybe 60% of them will be bust. You could say 3 out of 5 of these quarterbacks will be bust. So they're not even that good to start with. They're just like teams that need some hope. Okay, so we've got number 1, Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh my gosh, what's going on? What's going on in the video here?
Sharing the screen. So where are you going? Give me.
All right, don't show too much. Go back to the top. All right, we got Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence. First, I made a Bill Belichick joke. Remember last year when he was sitting with his dog was sitting in for him at the draft?
Really weird, yeah.
All right, so we did include that. Okay. Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence. Last time they took a quarterback this high. This is an amazing interface. If you're watching us right now, I hope
Trevor's
you are.
this.
Mike's got double box, triple box. He's got the blog up. We got images. This is sick. Okay, this is our new format going forward. Trevor Lawrence, don't keep us on there. We're good looking too.
We're here.
Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville. Of course, Urban Meyer came out of retirement to coach Lawrence. The last time they took a quarterback, he was a big drinker. Blake Bortles ran Jacksonville Beach bar scene. I've talked to sources there where he would black out on Friday nights, play a game on Sunday. That's a real thing, not a rumor or anything. So now they're going with Trevor Lawrence, who's very clean cut, just got married. So I think he's going to be a different kind of quarterback for the Jags. Number two,
wait, hold on, real quick.
Okay.
I just want to stop there.
Yeah.
Do you think the Jags deserve to be a good team? Like if Trevor Lawrence is good and Urban Meyer is a good coach in the NFL and can get this team to a playoff team and technically maybe win a Super Bowl, like Florida's just thriving right now. Do they deserve this? Like, I don't know if Jacksonville deserves to be this team.
Well, the Jets certainly don't deserve it. And the Jets nearly lost a game. Remember, they won a game that they shouldn't have won probably. Was that the Raiders beat them on something else? Or they beat the Raiders? Something happened with that Raiders Hail Mary.
I think they might have beat the Raiders. But then it was like, in a way, looking back, was this a calling card? So what's his name could go to the Panthers? What's his guy?
Sam Darnold.
Darnold. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the Jets should have been number one. They blew it, and now they're not going to get Trevor Lawrence. The Jags, they've picked up high before. Like I said, with Bortles, they ruined that pick, so maybe they'll get Lawrence right. Okay, let's go down to number two. You got to show the picture because the guy's just good looking. Zach Wilson, he's going to be the new Jets quarterback. He's a good looking guy. He could leave football to be an actor at some point. A lot of people say he looks like a Disney star. He's definitely going number two. I wanted to share this.
What was that meme? Didn't somebody share a meme where it's like, it looks like Zach Wilson playing Zach Wilson in a Disney movie or something? Like it looks like
he should be in High School Musical, right?
Yes.
So I wanted to share this theory, and I wrote about it with Zach Wilson, and we can just keep that up for a second. Colin Cowherd has this theory on quarterbacks, and basically he says quarterbacks who play college football on the West Coast and then are drafted by an East Coast team, and when they struggle, they fall apart because their family and friends are on a 3-hour time zone difference, and you can't call them to talk to your mom or dad after a bad game because they're living different lives on different schedules. So all that is to say, Zach Wilson is going to college at BYU, now going to the New York Jets, just like Sam Darnold was at USC and then went to the Jets. I'm calling bullshit on Cowherd's theory, and I think Wilson will succeed with the Jets. I think his theory is full of shit. You and me are on different time zones, and we've never had a problem communicating. I've never been depressed because I couldn't talk to you.
Well, no, you haven't, but it is. We will say the standard for deciding times is West Coast. I'm always like 3:00. Like we never guess like what.
That's a concession I've made for you 10 years ago.
Yeah. Just because you're always you're traveling a lot, so as long as we have one time zone we're sticking to. I also like that Cowherd. This is what happens when you talk to yourself for 3 hours. You come up with weird conspiracy theories like that. But I do love that one.
He is a theory-based guy, so that's Colin Cowherd for you. I think Wilson will do okay in New York. It's all decided. We know Lawrence, Wilson are 1-2. The draft starts at 3. Let's scroll down. Let's see it. That's right. Justin Fields. Don't scroll down too much. Okay. Justin Fields. Okay. So the Niners traded up for Fields or for a quarterback rather, and we don't know. Is it Mac Jones? Is it Trey Lance? Is it Justin Fields? It could go either way. Mac Jones is a betting favorite. People say the Alabama quarterback will work with Kyle Shanahan. Some people are saying Kyle Shanahan's a racist. He only wants to work with white quarterbacks. That's a theory that's being floated out there.
A lot of random theories today.
Here's what I want you to think back to, Mike. Okay. Your favorite quarterback of the last few years is probably Robert Griffin III, right?
Russell Wilson. Not why RG3? What the?
You loved RG3 when he came out of college, did you not?
Hold on. First of all, RG3 was what 2012 or something. It's like 9 years ago. Yeah. So when he was coming out, I did love RG3. I was all
his offensive coordinator. Okay, let me tell this story. Was
I didn't know where
Shanahan,
you're going with this.
I know I put you on the spot. So Kyle Shanahan is the San Francisco 49ers head coach. He's calling the shots, not GM John Lynch. I think he's smoke screening with Mac Jones. Wants everyone to think he's taking Mac Jones. He's going to take Justin Fields to do the RG3 offense, run, pass, do it all with the Niners. That's my pick.
So what do you do with Garoppolo? Do you not trade him during the draft? because that contract, I mean, you got to do something. Do you do like a Alex Smith, Mahomes kind of deal, keep him there for a year and then move on?
I think so. I think so, absolutely. But we'll see. We'll see. I think Garoppolo could be traded draft night. I think he stays this year, and then Fields moves in the following year. We're not going through it all because we need people to go click on it. But let's go through 6 with the group.
We could go deeper too if you want. Do we want to go like a little deeper, like some?
Well, I kind of want people to go click on it. I don't want to give them all away.
Oh, we're not going to give it away. I would say a very small percentage is actually watching this, but we could go deep. Who are my boys Seattle taking? I want to ask you.
We'll get to Seattle. Well, they don't have a first round pick, so they're irrelevant. Let's talk about the Falcons. The Falcons for a second.
Okay.
The Falcons have a big decision to make at number 4. This is one of the most intriguing spots in the draft, Mike, and it's going to come in the first hour once the draft starts. So I need you locked in on it. The Falcons have a new head coach, Arthur Smith. Where'd it go?
I'm pulling him up. I wanted to see who good Kyle Pitts is.
Give us a highlight video while we're there. Kyle Pitts, you jumped me a little, but Kyle Pitts is an amazing tight end from Florida. Now, the option for the Falcons, now we're watching ads. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, we're getting ads. We're going to go back.
If you're just listening to this, which 90% of people are, they're going to have no idea why we're reacting like this.
Go ahead.
The Falcons have a decision. The Falcons have a decision to make at the quarterback position with the new head coach, Arthur Smith. They can stick with Matt Ryan for 2 more years where he's under contract, or start the clock now and draft a quarterback. They could go quarterback. They could trade out to a team like the Broncos or the Patriots who need a quarterback, or the most likely scenario, and the one that J Dawg thinks will happen, they draft Kyle Pitts, a physical freak at tight end. There's no doubt, Mike, he's the next Travis Kelce, the next George Kittle. He will help Matt Ryan. Imagine Matt Ryan in his fading years having Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts. You could succeed in that offense. That's why I think the Falcons go that route.
So why are they so stuck on Matt Ryan? It doesn't make any sense. I actually, since we're here and people can maybe see the screen, how old is Matt Ryan?
This has turned into something else. I don't hate it, but
35 years old. I think it's like, all right, I'm 34. I still feel pretty good. Right? How old are you, Jeremy?
No, you don't. You complain a lot.
I do complain a lot. I do.
I'm 32 and I don't always feel good.
I just don't understand why they're keeping Matt Ryan, but let's say, okay, they're going to keep him. Is this a guy that I need to draft in fantasy? Is this a guy that's going to be the new Gronk?
Gosh, absolutely. He's a top tight end. If you're in a keeper league, which I think you are, you're going to want Kyle Pitts, no matter where he goes. I hope he goes to the Dolphins, but I think he's going to go at number 4 to the Falcons.
Okay.
The Bengals are next at number 5.
We want to do Bengals. Okay.
We'll go through a few more. The Bengals at 5, Mike, they have another decision to make. Do they go offensive line, protect Joe Burrow? He tore his ACL last year. It's the worst injury you can have in football. I think they should go offensive line. But here's the thing about Joe Burrow. He had an insane season with Jamar Chase. Look at the stat line for Jamar Chase. That's one season of stats in 2019. 84 catches, 1,780 yards, and 20 touchdowns. That was in one season of college football. They don't even play 16 games, Mike. They play like 13 games in a national championship. LSU won the championship. Burrow was throwing him all those passes. You got to do Burrow Chase and run it back. Okay. It's the only way. Also, LSU Tigers, Cincinnati Bengals are Tigers. It just makes too much sense.
That just makes too much sense. Now, if we will know if Joe Burrow has enough leverage inside the organization to push this through, right? Because they're probably asking like, hey, your boys come in. You guys can play together, have really good chemistry. Where's AJ Green these days? Is he still playing?
He's in Arizona. I don't know why he got a contract, but he got like $10 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Arizona's really going for it. That's going to hurt my boy Hopkins out there because that's my keeper.
They're trying to trade up for a receiver. That's a tip that I did not include in my mock draft. The Cardinals pick like 16th in this draft. They're trying to move up in the top 10 for Jalen Waddle or Kyle Pitts.
Interesting.
They're trying to help Kyler as much as they can.
Well, I'm interested to see the draft because if Burrow has that push or pull in the facility there, like he can talk to the coach or talk to the GM and like, I need this guy here to play with me, then it'll be interesting. But if not, where do they go if they don't go this route? Like, is there another?
It's offensive line. Yeah, it's Penei Sewell, offensive line tackle. Right now in my draft, he's going a little bit later, probably to the Panthers. Could go to the Lions. We'll see what happens there. I think they need to match up. I think Burrow is in the draft room on draft night saying we have to draft this guy. I think they do it. Let's talk about number 6 real quick for a second.
Okay. All right.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, are there any draft picks that you think, down like 20th, 27th that are going to pick that you think are going to be kind of studs this year? Because I feel
let's do a random scroll in a second. I want to talk about 6 and 7, then we'll scroll. 6 real quick. The Dolphins pick 6. I think they trade out. If the draft goes like this and Pitts is off the board, they want Kyle Pitts so bad. If he's not there, it's okay. We'll trade back, get more picks. You know who needs a quarterback? The Denver Broncos. Drew Lock is not good, and we all know it. So the Broncos go from 9 to 6. I set up the trade scenario right here. And the idea is Trey Lance is the quarterback. They let Drew Lock play the first few games of the year. If he sucks, you go to Lance. If not, let Locke play out, and then you go to Lance the next year. He's a little bit more of a developmental quarterback. He could be the best quarterback in Denver since Tim Tebow. Just kidding. Everyone's better than Tim Tebow. It's John Elway is who I'm talking about.
I love the cross out. Okay, that's good. Now, did John Elway step back a little from managing fully? Because
so they might have a good draft finally.
Yeah, because it's weird. It's almost like he was trying to make the same thing happen that happened to him. Like, I'm going to pick the next quarterback. Because how many damn quarterbacks did they have in the last 5 years? They got the heist guy. He was like 7 feet tall. He got like $20 million and walked away, or $100 million. God damn, what was his name? He's
Money
tall.
Heist?
No. He was a really, really tall dude. And he got traded.
The Broncos?
Yes.
Oh, Brock Osweiler. Rest in peace. Jeez.
Yeah.
He's not dead, just his career is.
But he has $100 million because of what John Elway did. He got traded, got more money. It's like, what is this guy doing? I think he had some ego issue where he's like, this is what I have to do. I have to make this team the same it was when I was there or something.
Yeah, and it didn't work. Even though he's a big body, he was a big arm. It should have worked out. Number 7, I've got the Patriots making the move here. I guaranteed it last week. The Patriots are going for a quarterback in the draft. They surrounded their whole entire team with $150 million, $159 million. There it is in the first 6 days of NFL free agency. You don't do that with Cam Newton at quarterback. You do it knowing you're going to have a rookie quarterback on a cheap contract for the next 5 years. It's going to be Mac Jones. Now, could Mac Jones go to San Francisco at 3? Yes. In this scenario, San Francisco takes Justin Fields and Mac Jones falls down. The Patriots grab him at number 7. And it's going to remind a lot of people of Tom Brady. I'm just going to say he's a pocket passer. He's super smart. He's accurate. He's not very good on his feet. He's never going to scramble out. He came from Nick Saban in Alabama, just like Tom Brady came from a big school like Michigan. Mac Jones to New England. It's scary. It's scary because it could be really good for them.
I'm just curious how Cam Newton's going to take it, because he is a very emotional guy. You see it all the time on the field. He gets real pouty. I don't know if he's going to like this. He probably thinks this is his shot to do it again. But as we've seen with aging quarterbacks, it usually doesn't get much better, just for Tom Brady, I guess. But most older quarterbacks, it doesn't get any better. So
you're right. And it's not going to get better for Cam Newton. It's all a smokescreen. Cam Newton will be the backup to Mac Jones. All right, I'll let you scroll.
Expensive smokescreen.
Pick a player. Tell me who you want to hear more about.
I mean, it just gets kind of boring, right? Offensive lines, linebackers. Do we got anybody? All right, well, tell me about this guy. Why are they going after him? I've heard stories about I don't even know how to say it. I'm not going to butcher his name. The New York Jets are taking this guy, right?
Najee Harris on the Jets. So I've got him going 23rd overall. The Jets have a lot of holes on their team, right? And so they could go in a lot of different directions after the quarterback position. They could go edge, they could go corner, they could go offensive line. The best thing to do with a young quarterback is to get a young running back to take pressure off of him and to run the football. And I think the Jets want to play defense and run the ball with their new head coach, Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator from San Francisco. I think Harris does come off the board in the first round as the first running back, and the Jets could be the team to get him.
Jeremy, how much time did you spend on this mock draft here?
So many hours. I need people to listen to this podcast many times, like listen to it again and again. And I need people to click on it again and again. Just keep refreshing your page when you're on it to make sure it's all worth it in the end.
That was great, Jeremy. So everybody can go check it out. It will be in the description, so you can click directly to the blog. So it's at thesportshangover.com, but you can directly click it. We'll also put up a little clip on social. This is going everywhere, Jeremy. You're getting out there. Next week's the draft. Are we going to do like a live, not a live mock, like post draft? You want to do like a little post draft recap?
Yeah, I think next Friday we have to put a show out and see how many picks I got right first and foremost, and then see what picks NFL teams got right. Because obviously J Dawg knows more.
Are you confident enough in that first 5 that I could go bet on the first 5 taken off the board?
Not very confident. No one really knows what's going on. I think the Falcons will certainly go Kyle Pitts or trade out. I don't think they're going quarterback with 2 years on the Matt Ryan contract. That doesn't make sense to me. The other picks, 3 and 5, I don't know. Fields or Mac Jones at 3, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, interesting. I like it all. That was good, Jeremy. Good job. Good job.
All right. We'll be back next week to recap that. It's a lot of work. So thesportshangover.com, go check it out.
Yes, go check it out. I'll put it on the front page. Also, there's links below. Follow us on Instagram at the Sports Hangover Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at TSH Podcast. We're reigniting our Twitter. It's no longer dying. I think Instagram's dying. I told you this last week, Jeremy, on our private one-on-one chat. But yeah, I think Twitter's back. I finally understood why it's such a creeper plate, not creeper, but like you can browse more than you can post, right? You're a casual poster. I would say you post once a month. You're like, hey,
That's correct.
here's this.
Yeah. A little tune in, a little promotional something.
Here's what's going on. But we're going to try to do it a little more with Sports Hangover, and I think it'll be good. Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, guys.
We'll be back after the draft.
Yeah, we're going to get the rest of the views. Hopefully, we're back next week.